Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everyone. I got a question for you. How intelligent are you? Let me give you a little more depth. How emotionally intelligent are you? This thing, emotional intelligence, getting a lot of attention lately, can very much support us once you crack the code, if you will. We're going to look at the difference between intellectual intelligence and emotional intelligence with somebody that has a lot of insight on all of this. He coaches people, individuals, C-suite executives, just people looking to move their lives forward and kind of figure this stuff out. And he is the man behind Masternomics. He's the president and chief coach. Great guy. Great to have him back here. Martin Glin joins us on the program. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm good, Steve. Feeling good. Just loving life. Loving life.
I love every time we get together.
Yeah.
I learn things. It validates things. The emotional intelligence, is that those letters EQ? I think I hear them come up. Is that the same thing?
Yeah, that's EQ. So when you hear people say EQ, that's what they're talking about, emotional intelligence. And, all of our lives, we've always heard the guy with the 100 or whatever, 1,000, the IQ. And that talks about, intellectual, it means intellectual quotient. So it's like intellectual intelligence, right? And most people, we really don't know the difference. And so we've always been focusing on and thinking about an IQ, and we call smart people, we call them smart, or we call them a genius when they can pass a test. And a lot of that was because of the way the educational system was designed, and it was designed in the early 1900s. Here we are in 2025, right? And so now we have to look at the way society has changed, and we look at success. Most of us measure success by like the amount of money. So when you talk to everyday people, they say, well, successful, if you describe somebody successful, you describe how much money they have, right? This millionaire, billionaire, whatever. And, but when we think about intelligence or people with IQ, if you ask the average person, well, who's one of the smartest people? Historically, most people would probably say Einstein or somebody like that, right?
Sure.
And those people are considered what we would call book smart. But in our modern times, when we're thinking of success, we think a lot of wealth because the way money is made. And what we find is the people that are the most intellectual or can pass the most tests aren't necessarily the wealthiest. And that's why we have so many people today that owe thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars on, education from when they went to school to make money, but now they're employed or they're in a business or in a field that had nothing to do with what they went to school for. And so what we see in society, the most successful people deal with emotional intelligence. And I say all that to say, when we think of the richest people, the richest people aren't necessarily the smartest. When you think of entertainers, athletes, and things of that, but a lot of them have emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is based off of how we manage our emotions. So the difference is intellect, which deals with you being able to pass a test, saying, 1 + 1 is such and such, blah, 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 as a kid, and you're passing the test. Emotional intelligence deals with how you manage your emotions. And I'm sure you, me, and everybody listening, we've been in situations where we have not managed those emotions, and we might have lost a job, or we lost a contract, or we lost a friend, or we lost a loved one, or someone that we care about. And we look back and we say, man, if I wouldn't have went off, if I wouldn't have done this, or if I wouldn't have done that, I might still have that position. I might be moved up in that position. And so what affects everyday people more than anything is the way we manage our emotions. How emotionally intelligent are we?
Lots to think about here. And I had this conversation last night about success. with some people, and we actually asked, what is success? How do you define it? Of course,
Mhm.
most said money.
Yeah.
I guess because it's measurable.
Yes, it's because it's measurable. Yeah, it's easy for us to wrap our head around, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
So, how do we know how emotionally intelligent we really are? Like if you said to me, Steve, if we're going to do a test today, it's going to be on um, math, everything
Mhm.
related to math. I already
Right.
know I am not intelligent in that area. I already know what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah,
Not even,
yeah,
I just, I know.
yeah.
And I wasn't really a great student. It wasn't, I was more creative,
Hmm.
throw me
Hmm.
behind a camera, give me a paintbrush. Like that was
Yeah,
my thing. It
yeah,
wasn't science and math and all of that. So I know where I sit there in terms of that type of intelligence, but
yeah.
emotional intelligence, yeah, how do you get a baseline? I'm sure there's
Mhm.
tests, but even just if you want to
Mhm.
think to yourself,
Yeah.
any things that we can identify there?
Yeah, so well, let's look at it like this. So the way to identify yourself, your emotional intelligence, is to do what most people don't do, and it's to become self-aware. So it's to analyze yourself and how you handle your emotions in tough situations or challenges. And so you have to learn to watch yourself, and you have to know what's going to work for you and what's not going to work for you. So we are emotional beings. Okay. So in the workforce or in life and at home, we're interacting with other people. And we know what makes us feel uncomfortable. Okay. We know if a person dressing a certain way or a certain tone someone uses, it disrupts our comfort. So we have to look at ourselves and self-regulate. So we have to know ourselves and know, you know what? Me being around this person puts me in an agitated state. Me talking politics with this person, because these are my views and and we're drastically apart. But we got to work together, right? And so I got to regulate my emotions and say, you know what? I love Susie, but we ain't there on politics, so I'm not gonna mention that because Susie's my boss, or Susie has the power to help me move up this ladder, right?
Mhm.
But Susie does love classical music, or she loves country music, and I do too. So emotionally, I'm gonna learn what's called empathy, right? Which is to put myself in someone else's shoes. Okay, so if I come in, Susie loves country music or whatever, she might be rap, whatever, and I might not really like it or like it a little. So I'm gonna talk about things that are gonna make Susie feel good, right? Because Susie has, can influence my paycheck or help me move up this ladder. So I'm using emotional intelligence, right? How somebody feels, right, to get more of what I want. And as I help them get more of what they want, I get more of what I want, right? And
Mm.
so it's a way. It's so emotional is it's connecting humans together, right? And if more of us had this emotional intelligence, this ability to connect with one another, to understand how what we say and what we do affects other people and how it makes them feel, then we would have better relationships.
Relationships comes from the word relate. And what
Yeah,
you're saying is right there,
yeah,
where let's say you're a salesperson, you go on a
hmm,
sales call, first one,
yeah,
of course, you want to make the sale,
hmm,
and you start reading the person, what they're into. You're being honest, but
right,
and you might look around and you might see something on their wall, you might see a picture on their desk, and it resonates. I love kayaking. So
hmm,
let's say I go in and I see a picture of somebody um, with kayaks.
hmm,
I
yeah,
might say, relatability. I might bring it up. Oh,
right.
you like
Thank you.
kayaking too? Oh my gosh, I love it. It is my
Yeah,
zen. I'm being honest. So
yeah,
looking for the connection so you can get on the same page.
right.
Is that something that those types of things, the
Hmm.
empathy, the feeling somebody else so you can relate to what they got going on,
Hmm.
is that something that is in all of us?
Hmm.
Is different degrees within us, or is it something that can also be learned?
All of the above. It's first, it's in all of us because we are emotional beings because we are spiritual first. right? And so we feel things first. So we have to really understand that we do feel things. Everything is not just basic math. Okay. So when you walk in a room and we feel energies, and we've all have been in a place, you might have went in the wrong neighborhood, you might have walked in the wrong conversation, and you can tell people are arguing and you feel the energy and you kind of ease your way up out of there, right? So we have that in us already, this ability to feel because we're spiritual. So we acknowledge that. Can we develop it? Yes, it can be developed. And the way we develop it is self-mastery and personal development because we're developing ourselves. So we can develop and gain discernment, and that is the ability to feel what is better for us and what is not. All right. Now, when relating with one another, which is what a relationship is just relating. Everything for us to exist in society, it is to relate with other people. And so, my problem with this education system as we have it today is it just teaches standardized testing, and it doesn't teach relatability. And so, if you want to develop and make a society better, or if you want to develop as a business owner, you have to learn how to relate to people.
Mm-hmm.
So management, right, deals with development of people. It's showing people how to see themselves. And so if I'm going to relate with you, just because I might have millions of dollars in my bank account and you don't have that, I have to be wise enough and know, empathy and say, I'm not going to say certain things that's going to make you feel diminished. Right? Why? Because I need you and you need me. We actually need each other. Money comes by way of people, and money comes by a relationship. So we can develop emotionally and become better people. And it's something that should never stop. Right? And the way we can constantly keep growing and developing is by creating goals and challenge ourselves. Because if you think about it in life, each position you ever had, it caused discomfort, and it messed with your emotions. It's like, you're leaving this job and going to the next job or starting a new business, right? You want it, so you desire it, but there's going to be discomfort. Why? Because I'm going to deal with different people and how I relate with them. So I have to develop myself emotionally to go into this new market, to start, to leave the auto business and go into the, cosmetic business or whatever it is. And so when we're looking at people that are massively or highly successful, we could name them from Jay-Z and Beyonce in entertainment, and we could name them to people, Steve Jobs and them that created all software and all that type of stuff. What they really mastered was emotional intelligence. The skill that they have, whether as an entertainer or a basketball player or the software designer, was one thing. But what separated everybody I just named was the way they deal with people emotionally and how they develop themselves, how they focus on themselves and work, and they created success in their own lane. And that's what we all have to do. We have to not focus so much on what we say X's and O's, right? Which is, like you said, it's math, it's the science, it's the outer things, but it's the internal things, how we handle our emotions and situations that's going to get us to the next level.
It's a great point, because there's many talented, look, Beyonce, Jay-Z,
Yeah.
whatever. There's
Yeah.
many talented performers out there. How come we don't know them? How come
Right.
we've never heard of them?
Right.
This is, I believe, part of it.
Yes.
How they
Yes.
reacted as they worked their way up to different situations that presented themselves, as they got, climbed the ladder of success. But, they might have, other people may have slipped on that ladder and went down a couple of
Right.
rings or steps on that ladder because they didn't react the way they should have in a situation because they weren't aware.
They weren't aware. And the thing, and I want to focus on this right quick. I know time always runs out, but the thing is, once we accomplish what we set out to achieve, it takes even more emotional intelligence to stay there. So think about the people, like I said, Beyonce, Jay-Z. You can name anybody successful, Oprah, any
Sure.
field, right?
Sure.
Once you're in this plateau, you're at this paramount, you're at this peak. What happens is people start to hurl things at you, right? And you can Google the successful people, and there's going to be people say all types of stuff about them, right? Now, how you handle your success determines how emotionally developed you are. You could talk about these people, but do they jump on social media and respond to everybody that's saying this and that? No, the way you handle success is how you handle your emotions. So, what happens is we have to carry our lives and our positions that we're at in our lives and our business or whatever. People are always going to talk about you and have their opinions of you, right? But successful people don't react, they respond, right? And sometimes the best response is no response
Mm.
because I'm here for a reason. So I love basketball, and people are always debating about LeBron and Michael Jordan, who's the greatest of all time. And guess what? Michael Jordan, in my opinion, because it's all subjective to somebody, is the greatest of all time, right? But I like his answer, and he said, "Well, people say, well, who's the greatest, you or LeBron?" He said, "Hey, guess what? I did everything I needed to do when I played that game, and I played it at the highest level. And every time I got out there, I won." That's for you all to decide. I'm good where I'm at, right? And so it's all about how you respond in life. Once you have won, I always tell people you got to know how to win. And sometimes you win and then you don't know how to be a winner and you lose and you react when somebody comes at you negatively. And that can happen in everyday life.
To illustrate your point, look at how many celebrities or people who are successful attained greatness. Fantastic. Oh my gosh. And then went down.
Yeah.
Now, some of that can be from substance abuse.
Yeah.
It happens. We
Right.
see it.
Yeah.
We're aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
But why did that happen in itself?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they had challenges with emotional intelligence
Yeah.
and gravitated to something as a deflection. Again,
Yeah.
and I'm not minimizing anything. We're just kind of dissecting this.
Yeah.
Or maybe, okay, I'm going to go there, and
Yeah.
it's here we go, and here we go. Nothing has been proven. It's still in flux. I'm just going to say one name,
Mm-hmm.
Diddy,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just leave it there.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
Dude was like, respected way
Yes.
up here on it.
Yeah.
Whoa, like
Right.
just so many mega hits, mega
Mm-hmm.
collaborations, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Look
Yeah.
what's going on with him now.
Yeah.
Again, nothing is proven.
Right.
We've got a lot, but
Right.
you
Yeah.
wonder what's going on there. But even to get to that point, what
It's all based on your emotions.
one would think.
Yeah. It's all, in some way, our whole life is controlled by the way we relate to people around us. And being at the top, you know, it takes a lot. It takes development. It takes development because the more money, more problems.
Yep.
But it's only if you look at it as a problem. It's what we call problems is just opportunities for us to respond and to
100%.
keep developing. You know, and so we've got to constantly work on our emotions. We got to constantly work on how we relate with others. But mostly we've got to work on ourselves. We got to work on ourselves. It's not enough to just say, I want to get a lot of money, right? How do you keep the money is how you respond to people emotionally. How you tell someone no when they ask for a loan, right? How do I deliver this message to them without crushing them, but standing my ground and saying I can't give the loan, right? That could be giving advice, putting yourself in other people's shoes, learn empathy. That's a great step into developing ourselves emotionally.
You said a word before, discomfort. And I'm going to share very quickly. I joined a men's group exactly a year ago, completely out of my wheelhouse. There was a retreat I went on. I don't know if I shared this. I went to one meeting. Somebody suggested it. At that first meeting, I signed up to go across the country. There was expense involved, getting on a plane, all of that, signing up to go on this retreat. I'm like, what the blank am I doing?
Yeah.
What? This, I got to tell you though, after, some searching within that experience and meeting every week with the men's group, and there's different tours of the group. It, could go on for like 3 months, and then you go with a different group of men, typically like 8 within the tribe.
Yeah.
That built my emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I'm even bringing this up is we set standards for ourselves, or just a list of things that define us, maybe 5 different things.
Right.
One of them is embrace discomfort.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And
yes.
I live by that. It's
Yes.
like
Yes.
it resonates with me. And I
Yeah.
was one of those people where, change, something's coming. Oh, I don't know what to do with that. Now it's like, all right, something, I had something in the past week, business wise, change.
Right.
Yeah, it was kind of impactful. I was kind of surprised. Like, I didn't see that coming. All right.
Right.
I look at it as it now. Previously, DEFCON 5. Oh my gosh. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Now, and I really mean this, it's not like just saying it to be positive. I look at it as an opportunity. I look at it as the universe is trying to shift me in a different direction, saying, no, don't put the focus over here. We got something better over here.
Yes.
Put some focus over here. And that's actually what I'm doing.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. It's all about that, what you said. We have to not be afraid to get in rooms and circles of people that we don't look like, that we don't have the same upbringing.
Yeah.
And guess what? It will be discomfort at first, but what we find about more than anything as people, we have way more in common than we have not in common. We all want to be loved in some aspect. We all have dreams and aspirations. We have way more in common. And to move up in life, in your business or whatever you want to do, embrace being that discomfort. It only lasts for a certain amount of time. Before you know it, you find so much in common with people, and those people might have a jewel that will help you in your business, and they might already have all the finances they want, but you're able to give them something that they need in their life. Yep. So it's all really based on our emotions.
Completely. And to your point, Martin, let's say you need to network. That's part of your business. Helps it grow. You know it. You don't like doing it. You're walking in a room, people, I don't even know who these people are. I got to relate to them. And it's just, uncomfortable. Once you embrace the discomfort and show some love in some regards, and they will show it back to you, you get to the point where you're like, I'm looking forward to it, man. Throw me in. This is great. I'm going to meet some new people. They might be connected to somebody. I got something for them. They've got something for me. We can work together. You don't know it until you know it. It's like jumping. It's like if you can't swim, if you jump into the pool, maybe on the shallow end, and then you kind of go a little bit deeper, and then that's what happened to me. I didn't know how to swim. I remember I was at a girlfriend's house. I was 18. She had a pool in the backyard. I would go in the pool, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm swimming. What happened? What happened? Discomfort? Yes, I could drown. Like, jump in. What's the best way if somebody wants to work with you on figuring this and many other things out? How do we find you?
Email me, masternomics1@gmail.com. Send me an email, and follow us, Masternomics, on YouTube, Masternomics Media on TikTok and Instagram. But email me, send me an email, tell me what you're doing. Let's connect. That's gonna be the best way. Yeah.
Awesome talking with you today.
Yeah, great talk.
Good stuff. I appreciate it. And we'll catch up next time. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.